Well, what exactly is it about?
It's about prejudice and stereotypes. Yeah.
You asking like a lot of detailed questions?
No, not if you don't want. Just kind of what you think about it.
I'll be back.
Be back. Okay.
Everyone that lives on the street uses drugs.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that like a stereotype would be that all Asians are bad drivers.
About people of color, about people who are immigrants, people who have an accent, people who speak a different language, that all of these things somehow are not truly American, and that you're sort of less than.
That if you see an African American person, that they're automatically guilty of something, no matter what they've done.
Assuming we don't speak English because we're wearing a headscarf.
Like all Catholics live, that religion is too laid back or something.
You know, it's common to say that, you know, people who have tattoos are like criminals or drug addicts or something like that.
As an example of a stereotype that I've heard, my teacher actually had said this in school the other day. In English class, he was saying, there's one thing about Jewish people, most of them are lawyers. Big stereotype right there.
That all people from Utah are Mormons.
Stereotypes that society holds. Example, labels such as, for example, gay. So that word in itself produces a stereotype which allows people to prejudge. And yeah.
Mothers make better parents?
Stereotypes toward race, stereotypes toward sex, like male, female, stereotypes toward economic stature.
Or people who listen to rap music are gang members.
Stereotypes toward African Americans, toward Mexican Americans, Japanese, and then, you know, even stereotypes toward white people coming from those groups.
I don't really like to judge people.
A stereotype is a generalization about a group of people.
The word stereotype means to me that you judge somebody because of something that you've heard.
A label or a name that someone can choose to put you in a box.
What do I think a stereotype is? Like a certain look, a certain way. Yeah, like a certain look, fashion, the way you gotta be in front of people.
A very narrow perspective about a group of people that doesn't account for the diversity within a group.
Stereotype is like a social, sort of a social constructed idea. Like
a stereotype? Stereotype. It's got to be somebody that, you know, always just predictable. Does things predictably all the time.
Just being grouped into, you know, a derogatory kind of group and basically being ridiculed for it.
Painting someone into a corner that, I don't know. That's a good question.
I would be, especially since we're Muslim, you know, that...
Assuming we don't speak English because we're wearing a headscarf. We're starting to talk really slow. Hi! Do you speak English? That kind of...
Prejudice is Prejudice means prejudging, so it's prejudging a group of people based on a stereotype.
Yeah, like only hanging around your own race.
Yeah.
So I can't say that one one type of people is prejudice against all types of people.
Prejudice to me means judgment before really knowing the fact.
I think people just, anything they don't understand, they automatically think there's something wrong with it.
I think it's judgmental.
What is prejudice? To feel that a group is less than, just to feel like a group is less than.
That you don't like somebody just because how they act, because the way they look, because their sex, because their color of their skin, because a whole bunch of different reasons. It's not fair.
Prejudice is somebody that has some hatred in them. Oh, I'm stereotyped all the time, you know, my job and everything else around.
Didn't make me feel good.
Yes, I have albinism. I have, I have like this condition where my skin is whiter, hair is white. So growing up in school, I was a lot of times a target of I don't know, people making comments.
It's really in my perception. It's how I perceive it. Because if I'm in a space of thinking that someone's judged me, and maybe they might not be, if someone's categorizing me, they may not be, but it could be how I perceive the situation.
Well, I would have tattoos all over me, and I wouldn't think that people would discriminate against me today, but they do.
Yeah. And being assumed that because I'm black that I'm stupid, or that I don't have an education, or the fact that I do have an education, I only got it from affirmative action. It wasn't something that I earned on my own. And
It's just like, they didn't know me for who I was.
It's fine. I mean, I think you got to be comfortable with yourself and realize that everyone has different backgrounds. And people are going to think what they want to think, and as long as you're, comfortable with who you are and what you believe, then you should know.
We're strong, so it doesn't really bother us. But I let people know that, I speak English. I know what you're saying.
Discrimination is a practice that is used to keep people out of certain things.
Or men getting paid more than women.
Well, discrimination is when these things affect people's decisions. They get discriminated against.
right.
I think discrimination is just taking away someone's rights.
Hatred, or not even hatred. It could be just their beliefs are one way.
To prevent a group of people or people from a certain group from getting particular kinds of opportunities or access to resources just because you have a narrow and negative perception of who they are.
Okay, discrimination is when you single out a person based on what you might think about them based on a group.
I guess doing something against a person or a group of people based on like a system of beliefs that aren't necessarily true.
Yes, I think everybody's capable of change, but if you're willing to, the other person's got to be willing to.
I think they can change their actions. I think certain ideas never leave.
I do think society could change. I think it'll take time.
People can change.
No, I mean, I think the more mainstream anything gets, the more society is willing to adopt it. I mean,
Society changes all the time, in my belief. I mean, there's always going to be prejudice, discrimination, stereotypeness, but it's going to change. It always does change. As life goes on, life changes for everyone.
Right on.
Do I think people are capable of change? Yes, I do think people are capable of change.